Hello, this is Matei, and I scored 170 in quant. This is a short description of my preparation journey to take the GRE with Target Test Prep. Now, in terms of my background, I studied philosophy, politics, and economics, a quite popular British university degree in London at UCL. After I graduated, I went back home to Romania, where I joined Roland Berger, a management consulting company, as a summer intern and then as a consulting analyst. Because I was very passionate about economics and international relations, I then applied as a Blue Book trainee to the European Commission traineeship program, and I joined DG ECFIN, the Director General for Economics and Financial Affairs in Brussels. Being surrounded by economists, well, that confirmed this desire to advance on the path of becoming an economist myself. So then I started researching economics masters to enroll myself to. The common denominator for every good economics master's program in Europe is that you should have a very high GRE or GMAT score. And I initially settled on taking the GMAT. And like every prospective test taker, I went online, I was doing my research, and the name of several platforms came up. I remember I registered to a bunch of them and benefited from their free trial period. And Target Test Prep was the one that absolutely stood out to me. First of all, because of the very seamless and super intuitive user interface, where everything, all the information you need is at hand whenever you need it. And this is best reflected in the very neat feature that they have on the website, which is this roadmap or checklist where you can see your progress so far and how much you still have to go through with your preparation before the day of the exam. That was an absolute lifesaver for me in terms of preparing and structuring my studying sessions for the exam. And besides that, like most comments reflect online, Target Test Prep, they do an amazing job in terms of covering everything you need, especially in terms of the quantitative part of the test, but also the verbal part of the test. All in all, I spent about 3 months preparing for the GMAT, and after that I realized that the GRE might actually be the better exam to take in my case. Building up on my previous experience studying for the GMAT, I then switched to taking the GRE still with Target Test Prep. It was a no-brainer to stay with the company, and I immediately subscribed for their GRE preparation. And I spent about a month before taking the exam preparing for the GRE. I took so much time, I would say, because I really paid attention to Scott's comments, and this best piece of advice I retained from my preparation with Target Test Prep is to actually really pay attention to the basic exercises first. So you have to really work your way through the very easy ones to the mid-level ones, and then you tackle the more complex and harder questions. So that meant I treated every single example, every single question, every single chapter with great responsibility, and I really made sure I absolutely get those concepts. Now, the level of detail TTP goes into is absolutely phenomenal, and they cover everything you need to know in terms of content before the exam. But another very interesting thing that they do, which really stood out to me and was extremely beneficial, is that besides providing the explanations for quant and verbal, they also have a lot of chapters which are integrated within your learning experience, a lot of chapters where they try to develop the right strategy for you to prepare for the exam. And that was absolutely mind-blowing and very, very important to me. It really structured the way I was approaching the exam in the beginning, especially. And by that I mean they try to, besides very interesting tips and tricks, they tried to indicate what kind of things you should be focusing on, what kind of things not to let yourself distracted by. They make sure that you understand what are the priorities, both in terms of preparing before the exam and during the exam, so that by the time I actually went and stepped into the test-taking center, I felt very much assured. On the one hand, because I covered all the important chapters in very in-depth at a very deep level, but also because I knew I had the right mentality and the right mindset to actually take the exam and not let myself be surprised by anything. I was fully responsible for my score because I knew how much preparation went into that. And I'm very glad the Target Test Prep actually made me aware of those things. In my case, I kind of had one shot to take the exam. I've never taken one before. I only did some diagnostic tests on the platform, which were okay, but were not at the level I was aiming for. And I had one test because of the deadlines for the programs I was applying to in terms of university. So then I really needed to make sure I am well prepared. And one piece of advice I would have for every prospective test taker is to make sure you simulate enough exams and you simulate the exam conditions before taking the test. And TTP has a couple of tests integrated in their platform, which are amazing. But then a very cool feature they have, my favorite by far, is that they give you access to the full bank of questions, quant and verbal. And it's 100% customizable. You can choose how many questions you want to add to a session. You can choose the time, you can choose the level of difficulty and the chapters to include or not. That was a game changer for me because for about a week or so before the exam, I was non-stop using this feature, trying to simulate and to create proper exam conditions for myself. And because of the amazing analytics they have, where you can actually see your progress and your performance, I could see my scores going up that week before the exam. So genuinely, 170 in quant is the perfect score is always an amazing feature. But I was not surprised because I scored that before with TTP, and in terms of predicting how well I did, I think the platform did a spot-on amazing job. I've already referred this platform and recommended to several of my friends who are interested in taking the exam this platform. I'm actually more than happy to talk about TTP with anybody who's interested in taking either the GRE or the GMAT, and 100% I can recommend it. I wish you all the luck, guys, and hopefully the exam is gonna go great for you. Good luck.